Hi class, I wanted to explain a little bit about some bioethical concepts because I saw some of us were struggling. So I'm making this video so you can reference back to it. So there are multiple bioethical concepts, but we're going to look at four. Public health is one. Another is bodily autonomy. Another is informed consent. And another one is personhood. So quick recap, public health is about the health of the public, not an individual. Bodily autonomy is about your right over what happens to your body. Informed consent is about your ability to agree to do something. Often we're talking about scientific studies. And personhood is about having legal status of a person. This one tripped some of you up. It is not about literally being a human being. It's about whether or not you get some of the rights and privileges and legal protections of a person. So let's look at two ways that we can have bioethical controversies or debates. So the first one is about whether or not we value one concept over the other. And so that's mean we're weighing two things. And I'm going to draw a little scale here to show this. I know my drawing ability is amazing. We're looking at two things and we're weighing one as more important than the other. Okay, so one debate is about whether or not to have mandatory mask wearing during the pandemic. So one argument would be, yes, we should mandate, require legally that people have to wear a mask. Because if we don't, people can get sick. So this is an argument saying that public health is more important. Another argument would be, no, we should not mandate that people wear masks because my right to what happens to my body, like putting a mask over my body, is more important. And so this is saying that bodily autonomy is more important. Neither one is correct in some objective scientific sense. They're ultimately opinions. So for example, in New York State, we have mandated that you have to wear a mask outside. If you don't, a police officer could give you a fine because we've made it a rule and you're breaking the rule. So we have said that public health is more important. Some states, however, have not made the same decision, and they say it's optional if going outside you wear a mask. So they're saying that bodily autonomy is more important. We can also have tension or controversy because the same debate is being interpreted differently. So let's look at the debate over whether or not to have zoo animals. So I'm going to draw like a tug of war. So we got a line here showing a tug of war. So the question here being, should we cage zoo animals? One side would say, no, animals have feelings just like people do, and they can get sad and lonely and miss being out in the wild, miss doing what their natural behavior is. Another side would say, we should cage them because even though they feel things, that doesn't really make them a person. So this is ultimately a debate about personhood and what personhood means. So one side would say, no, we shouldn't cage animals because feelings gives you personhood. Whereas another side would say, yes, we should cage animals because feelings don't give you personhood. So this is ultimately a debate about one biological concept, personhood, and how it's applied. So to recap, we have 4 different bioethical concepts. We can either disagree about which one is more important in certain contexts, in certain debates, like public health versus bodily autonomy, and whether or not we should mandate mask wearing. Or we can disagree about one concept and have this back and forth, this tug of war of how we apply that particular concept to one context, like whether or not personhood comes from having feelings, and ultimately whether or not we should cage wild animals in zoos. I hope that was helpful. Have a great day, guys.